to the Strong Baby Mama Show. I am your host, Cortega Collins. Thanks for tuning in for today's show. As you know, the Strong Baby Mama movement is about empowering and inspiring single moms to live their best life. Do we still say that? I don't know. I'm still saying it because I want single mothers to live their best life. I want strong baby mamas to live out loud. So this movement again is about empowering and educating. So many times we tell women to be strong, to do this, to do that, but we never teach them how to do it. We never give them the tools that they need to be great. Well, I don't want to be that person. I want to be a part of the solution and not just talk about the problem. One of my passions is to help families to break cycles of poverty, to come out of poverty, to live their best life, and just to live a different life and to change their mindset about money. One of the ways that you can be great for your children is to teach them money matters. And you can't teach what you don't know. So tonight's show is about financial literacy. I want single mothers because single mothers are heads of households, and we have to learn how to navigate through the financial system so that we can provide a better life for our children. So tonight, I'd like to welcome to the show Mahogany Moore. Welcome to the show, Mahogany.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for being here. So Mahogany, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. My name is Mahogany Moore, and I'm a former realtor. I also own property and was a landlord, not a slumlord, for years. I am passionate about teaching single mothers the importance of investing in themselves and building wealth for their families. I have helped lots of people get into homes when they felt like they could not. They had no clue about credit and how the choices that they made today was affecting them down the line. And I really loved helping people in general, but women especially, who did not have men in the household, to find something that they can afford and didn't think they could, and be able to build wealth for their family that can carry down to their children. So I'm passionate about that, and I do that even now. And I'm not working as a realtor anymore, but I still help people to get their credit in order, and I'm not getting paid for this. This is just something that I do because I understand credit and how it works, and it's just, I'm passionate about it. So
that's amazing. So we're so happy to have you here to share with our audience all of your wealth of knowledge. Okay, Mahogany, tonight's segment is titled Financial Literacy. So tell us, what does financial literacy mean to you?
Financial literacy to me is understanding how the decisions I make today with my finances will affect me tomorrow. Knowing what my goals are and what I need to accomplish to make those goals for myself, and learning to say no to whatever is taking me away from that goal. What works best for me as a single mom was when you have those emergencies, which we always do, and people feel like, okay, I had to do this and I got off track, and then they continue to go down the road of being off track. No, those things happen and you get off track, but you fix that again. You don't just keep going down that road and making the situation worse. Because of course, when you're a single mom, things come up. You have those expenses. Understanding where to pull money from, how to do different things without putting yourself in a bad situation works.
Okay, so let's talk about this, Mahogany, because this is the kind of single mom I was before. I wasn't always a strong baby mama. At some point, I was just a baby mama, and I was poor. I had a poverty mentality. So let's talk about some of the choices that we make as single moms, because single moms, nobody rides for their children like a single mama. We want them to have the best of everything. And sometimes we make decisions that are detrimental to our financial health.
Yes.
And I was one of those.
Me
So
too.
listen, single mamas out there who are doing any of this stuff that I'm getting ready to say, trust me, I did it too. But we spend money. We spend more money on what we put on them than what we put inside of them.
Exactly.
And I was, will, for instance, I know somebody who got paid twice a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
The 15th and the 30th of the month,
Mm-hmm.
and her child's birthday was before the 15th.
Mm-hmm.
So she made a conscious decision that she was not going to pay her first of the month bills because
Mm-hmm.
she wanted to give this 1-year-old
Mm-hmm.
this fantastic party.
Yep.
And my heart just, even though I understood because I used to live paycheck to paycheck.
Exactly.
And, so let me just take a pause here and say that's why I have Mahogany here today, because I am not the best. And the best way to be effective is to do what you teach. So I'm teaching about being strong and overcoming single parent issues because I did that very well. But I still struggle because I grew up poor. So I still have poor girl tendencies. Sometimes I buy a lot of high end things. And so I understand. So the person that I'm talking about, I'm not judging her. But I want Mahogany to share with you all and to even teach me, why that was a bad decision and what she could have done differently.
Okay. So I can only go from my experiences and what I've learned from those things, and what made me better off financially is I realized that bills are the most important.
Mm-hmm.
Like I cannot go behind on my bills, because then you live in paycheck to paycheck already.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go behind on my bills, I'm going to be constantly trying to pay catch up, and then you wait till you're going to get, I can't wait till my income tax. That's like the single
Yes.
mothers, and I'm going to pay
Yes.
everything off. And
Yes.
but by the time that comes, you need your car repaired, or you need to replace your car, or something else comes up. So you have to kind of plan out those things. So how long did I know that this was going to be my child's first birthday?
Yes. Yes.
And so maybe I should not have bought my son all of these, or child, Jordans, or maybe I shouldn't have spent all this money on some other things that we do, because I did it. I thought my son was supposed to have all the name brand
Yes.
stuff, and really they don't need it, because they're just as happy with the Spider-Man shoes that you buy from Walmart or whatever. So, and you can still splurge on things, but that should not just be their whole wardrobe. Like, we should learn that that is not the definition of who we are. What we have does not define us.
Right.
And when we get those things, we're still not happy when we get those things.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times I've learned that we do shopping that way because we're trying to be happy or have a persona for other people, when that's something that we need to have within.
Right. We're trying to look wealthy.
Yeah, we're trying to look like we have something, or we want to appear to be more, because that makes us feel good.
Right.
When, your child always fly and you always fly, but you can be fly on a budget.
Right.
Like, you
That's
can
good.
shop and be fly on a budget. And if you love expensive purses and shoes, like, I'll go cheap on but I still like my purses.
Mm-hmm.
But I plan those purchases.
Mm-hmm.
And if I make money, then I spend that. But I may not buy another purse the whole year. I'm
Right.
not buying a purse all month. So
Right.
if I spend $1,000 once a year on a purse, that's because I didn't spend $100 every month on one.
Right.
So,
Right. So one thing that Mahogany brought out that I want to mention also is that you can be a good mother without your child having the most expensive things.
Exactly.
And we know that you want to give your child the best, but it's more important to give them what they really want is you.
It's you.
Not those things. And that makes us feel better, like she said.
Yes, and then a lot of times we try to splurge and have this 1-year-old party because we saw it on Basketball Wives. But they have the money for
Right.
that, and we could serve hot dogs and chips, and the kids are going to be just as happy. So I
Right.
mean, it's really based off the perception that other people
Exactly.
want to have for others, and is that perception worth your plans?
Right.
So when you say no to things that are against your goals,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just part of discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, I know I want to buy a house. We're going to have to buckle down. This is something that I just can't do, but I'm going to still have him a party and I'm going to celebrate him. I'm just not going to do it in that way.
Right. Mahogany, you were a single parent at one point, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did you make any Because I want to make sure that, like I said on a previous episode, this is a judgment-free zone. So please don't think that because I'm talking about some of the things that you may be doing that I'm judging you.
Oh no,
Or
I've done
so that's what I want to talk about.
Yes.
Mahogany. Can you tell us about, were you always this financially astute? Can you tell us about some mistakes that you made as a single mom and what you learned from it?
I have made every single mistake that you can make as far as my finances. And when you have to pull yourself out of those things, each time I did, it taught me something.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned from my mistakes. I didn't continue to go down that road because to me, my goal is financial independence. I don't want to have a lot of debt.
Right.
I don't want to carry that on to my children. I want to build wealth for my children, not give them a whole bunch of debt.
Right.
So that's my goal. So you have to do everything else that's against your goal. So maybe I need to stop shopping so much. Like right now, I'm using more than I would of my credit card because me and my daughter went on vacation and I splurged when we got to the outlet mall. But I hadn't been shopping and I just used my credit card. But I'm not going to use that credit card again until I pay that off. Because that's how I manage my credit. I'm not saying you don't use it and you don't do things at all. You manage it though. So if I'm more than 30% over my credit limits because you want to stay below that to keep your score high,
right?
Then I'm not going to use it until I get below 30% or pay it completely off.
Right.
Like that's just discipline. So yes, do things, enjoy yourself, live, but do it responsibly.
Right. Okay. Tell us about your aha moment, Mahogany. How did you transition from the point where you were living paycheck to paycheck, you were buying your son all of these amazing things, and you transitioned to being more financially responsible?
I think it was maturity. And then when I was divorced, I had to file a bankruptcy. And that kind of hurt me because I worked so hard to get my credit to a point to where but at the same time, I'm glad I did it because it eliminated a lot of things and allowed me to continue with my life and not try to pay off all of this debt that I had taken on with me and someone else that's no longer in my life. So, and it also taught me what debt is important. Like, do I want to have a lot of things? Am I going in debt for something that is going to make me money? Then that's different than going in debt for something that's just, that's cute today and then it's going to be in my closet. Or, I'm driving the car now, but I can't get it fixed because I can't afford to because the car note's too much.
Okay. That's a perfect segue into my next question because so many times when we hear people talking to people who are, poor or, they always say, you just need to live within your means. Live within your means. Live within your means. Well, for somebody who's financially illiterate, they don't know what it means to live within your means. So can you tell the viewers what it really means to live within your means?
What it means to live within your means is that you can pay your bills, buy household items, buy necessities, still have money to save after that. And if you do not have money to save, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're living above your means. And I really prefer to live below my means.
Right.
And that has been a goal for me, and I'm doing really good at it. I've chosen to get a cheaper home, but it's plush and nice how I want it. And I still have the luxuries of anybody that has an expensive home somewhere, but I'm not paying that mortgage. So then I have more money to live and enjoy my life because I'm at the point where that's important. That's more important to me than things.
Right. And I think that that's a good point about being able to live within your means, knowing how much house you can afford, knowing how much car you can afford. You don't want to be house poor, spend your whole, your house payment should be no more than 30% of your disposable just because the bank says you can afford $50,000 house doesn't mean you have to go and get one. So you have to. On another video that I did years ago, I talked about how Joseph told Pharaoh to save 20% of, so we should be saving, and you set your expenses. Okay, well, I know this is how much I make, and I need to set my expenses to the point that I'm only spending 80%
Absolutely.
of that. Okay.
I think it's especially important for single mothers to live within their means because you don't have other income coming into the household and you're really the breadwinner of the household. It's important for us to live within our means and even below our means if we can, because we are the only person that our kids have to support them.
Right.
And there's going to be emergencies. There's going to be everything in the world that comes up. And if we can't take care of those things for ourselves, we'll put ourselves in debt by going to get these payday loans that nobody should ever go get. And the title loan things that they have these commercials for, all of those things are just keeping us from accomplishing our goals. And even though we all have emergencies and we may not have family members to go to, if we prepare ourselves for those emergencies, we are better equipped to handle them. Okay. So, it's just that. And I do have a friend that it was years ago, and I haven't seen her in years, but she saved her income tax. She had 4 kids. And she saved her income tax for 5 years. And I think she was getting like $10,000. I was just like, wow, how do you get $10,000 a year?
Wow.
She was getting like $10,000 and $12,000 back a year, like in income tax. And she saved that for 5 years and went and purchased a house cash.
Nice.
And she put her kids through private school. Last time I saw her oldest 2 were on their way to college. But she made those choices so that she could manage her household and still provide a life where her kids could get an education and she can continue her education because she went on to get her master's degree and all kinds of things. So, I mean, it's just, we have to really check ourselves sometimes and realize what's important, because while we're out here chasing things, our kids are out here just doing all kinds of things when we could be making sure that they're okay, providing an education for them. Not clothing, by making sure that we have a home that's paid for. And even like the Section 8 program, they have a home buyers program. So, and I used to tell my tenants that, and it would make me cry that they would not get into these programs to become homeowners, because you're not going to be able to be on Section 8 forever. So you need to get into these programs where they're helping you to get to home ownership.
So listen, if you didn't know that, I encourage you to, when this video is over, to research the Section 8 home buyers program so that you can eventually, because that's, Mahogany, would you agree with this?
Yes.
That that's one of the best ways to build wealth.
Yes, it is.
Is to own property,
yes,
to own land. And one thing I want to mention about what she said, about, especially about the lady who takes her income tax check, is what I try to explain to people. It's delayed gratification. The delayed gratification will get you so far in your life. So, Mahogany, before we wrap up, I wanted to find out, because there are some single moms who aren't at that point yet. They want to do better. They maybe know, or even after seeing this video, they say, you know what, I do want to do better. But their expenses they're already living above their means. Now, me, as the Strong Baby Mama founder, I don't advocate for single moms to work 2 jobs. So, because they're taking away from their children, and a lot of times we do that because we want to give them things. So, what advice? And so, in my book, Strong Baby Mama, Single Parenting Without Bitterness, get your copy today. But one of the things that I encourage moms to do is perhaps get a roommate. Sometimes in our culture, we shy away from getting a roommate. And we talked about your housing expense only being 30%. If you only make $9 an hour, 30% of that you can barely live. But if you get 2 strong baby mamas who get together and help each other out, get a nice place in a nice neighborhood, and each are paying $300 or $400, then they can live nice.
And you know what? I'm glad you said that because people do not realize that they can get a place in a nice neighborhood and be paying less than $1,000 a month. That they can live in Creve Coeur or they can live in other areas where they have good school districts and be paying less than $1,000 a month, and they don't realize that. And I also know two girls that did that. They
Okay.
actually bought a house in West County
Okay.
because that was the school district that they both wanted to be in,
Mm-hmm.
and because they didn't have husbands or whatever, they was just like, well, we'll help each other out and our kids will go through school. So they bought a house together and
Mm-hmm.
they lived in the house, and their kids are like in high school now, but yes.
Right.
And it works for them. And you know, a lot of times women, we are not so encouraging with our women,
Yes.
other women.
Yes.
We can't get along with other women. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we need to grow up. Like,
Right.
really, people really need to grow up. It's okay to stay with a friend. It's okay to live with your mom, even if she's in a good neighborhood.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that is really growth, because we are the only group that doesn't do that. Like other cultures,
Mm-hmm.
they will do that because
Right.
that's building wealth
Right.
for their families.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
Okay, well, we are out of time. This has been such valuable information. I'm so glad you came to share that from somebody who not only knows what to do, but who's doing what she teaches. And that's so important. That's why she's so effective. So here you have a single mom who had, your children are maybe grown now?
my son, he's 22. He'll
Okay.
be 23. Oh, and he has excellent credit. So
Okay.
he just recently purchased a vehicle, and he was like, "Mom, I think I'm gonna get a new car," because he drove the wheels off of his other car.
Okay.
And when he went in, it was no. I was like, "Okay, well, get pre-approved before you go," and he did. And when he got there, no money down. 30 minutes later, he gone with his car, and he was just like, "Mom, that was just like," I'm like, "Yeah, that was why I've been teaching you all this time. Make sure you pay your bills."
Right.
But I also established them ahead of time by adding them as authorized users on my credit so that they can build their credit, so they don't have to use mine as adults
Right.
and mess it up, because
Right.
they're going to have their
Mhm.
own experience.
Right.
As
No
adults.
co-signing.
Right, no co-sign, and you can get your own apartment, you can get your own whatever without me on it messing me up.
Right.
So, you know.
Okay. Okay, so here we have it from Mahogany, who came to share with us, who was at one point a single mom. Your children are older now, your youngest being 17, almost 18, but she has done what she's teaching us. She not only knows what to do, but she's actually done what she's teaching us to do, and it can work for you. So I encourage you single moms who are maybe struggling, especially if you're a single mom who's working two jobs. I used to do the same thing. I always worked an administrative job during the day, and I always worked a retail job at night. And my oldest son suffered because of it, because I was trying to, he always had the latest Jordans. I used to have a Dillard's charge back in the day, maxed it out every month. He was always in designer clothes, designer shoes, and now it just messed him up because now he doesn't have, he's not rich right now. So, but he still wants, he's so accustomed to having
Those
labels,
things.
that he wants them. So, I didn't teach him. I didn't know. So I couldn't teach him. So I would encourage you, single moms, if you're out there, if you're working two jobs, work on reducing your expenses. And working two jobs is not the way so that you can give your kid things. They want you. That's the most important thing that you can spend on your child is time. So speaking of time, we are out of it. That is tonight's show. Thank you, Mahogany, so much for being a part of the show. I'm so glad you're here. But you have not heard the last of Mahogany. There is so much more that she's going to teach us on next week's show. So make sure that you tune in next week to hear some more about what she can teach us about financial literacy. And she's going to talk about credit and home buying. Because remember, she said that the Section 8 program has a home buyers program. But even if you're not on Section 8, she's going to give us some tips on how to purchase a home. Home ownership is not out of reach for you as a single mom. You can, when I was a single mom, I purchased my first home as a single mom. Mahogany has purchased a home as a single mom. So you would be surprised how easy it is for you to purchase a home. So thanks again for watching tonight, you guys. Don't forget to like this video, comment, leave us a comment, interact with me, interact with Mahogany. Let us know what you thought about some of the things that she said. Are you that mom? Are you spending $50 and $60 on your 2-year-old's shoes and you want to stop doing that? You know, is your child fly every day at daycare, you know, in Gucci and labels at daycare, coming home with
outgrow.
Right, with markers and crayons on their Louis Vuitton or Polo or whatever it is. Anyway, at any rate, leave us a comment. Let us know. And if you are that person and you now know from this video that you want to do things a little bit differently, then leave us a comment so that we can interact with you. Because I don't know about you, Mahogany, but I wish I had some of that money I spent on Jordans.
I wish I had.
I wish I had invested. You know,
yes.
if I had invested in Nike instead of, you know,
bought some stocks.
Yes.
Yes.
So, at any rate, thank you again for watching. Like the video, comment. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell so that you are notified when there is new content coming to the channel. I'm so glad that you tuned in to us, to the show tonight. And remember, you can come out of your financial rut because you're stronger than you think.